A teenage boy named Bunk wakes up from his dream on his mattress. His cover is hooked up to the ground through heavy weights. In order that Bunk cannot fly with inside the air whilst napping, sure he has inborn capabilities to fly each time he feels emotional. His mom makes scrumptious meals for him, so Bunk eats lots and receives heavier to maintain his toes attached to the floor. Passover lie high and even places a heavy weight on Bung's bag to make him live at the floor. After that Bunk leaves for college. He is taking the bus in the direction of the college and sees a woman jogging to seize the bus. Bong receives interested in that woman. It is like love before everything sight for our boy. The woman is Jang Hasu, who comes from a bad-owned circle of relatives and does not actually have credit score on her card to pay for the bus's hire, so Bongyo can pay for her too at the bus. Bongak receives emotional while he comes close to Hasu once more. His steps begin to upward thrust from the floor, however then he closes his eyes and starts to don't forget the fee of by to cognizance someplace else. It is his manner of diverting his cognizance from Huizu while the bus reaches out college. Bong-sik is overdue at getting into the gate because of the weights he's wearing. His jogging pace is slowed in comparison to different college students, so the instructor on the gate punishes him for being overdue through assigning him the cleaning responsibility of toilets at college. The fundamental offers a spherical to test on the scholars. The president of the elegance gang, Hyun, is a totally smart scholar and additionally usually comes first with inside the elegance. Then we see Bongsak, who liquids lots of water to make himself heavier with inside the intervening time. Hasu is likewise visible with inside the equal college she has been transferred from every other college. That's why she is carrying a specific uniform. The elegance instructor Mr. Choi advises Hyu to foremost in sports activities due to the fact she is matching might boost up at the bodily examinations. Then Hasu comes into the elegance and greets anybody. After introducing herself, she goes to be Bongak's classmate to any extent further. That is why his feelings have expanded and so he wishes greater weight on him someplace else. A person named Frank lands on the airport. A transport van is prepared for him. He adjusts the garments and sees a report located with inside the truck. There may be a listing of human beings who are his objectives, whom he goes to kill quickly. Then again Gang Hun takes Wissa to the health club Nasium and leaves her there to exercise. Then he is going to Mr. Choi, reputedly worried approximately Hyu. He asks Mr. Choi to allow us to take a look at the different topics like different college students. However, Mr. Choi claims that he is aware of what's higher for his. The daddy of Hyu may be very terrible and does not actually have cash to pay for brand spanking new uniform, as she continues to be sporting the preceding college uniform, so he's going to now no longer be capable of pay the costs of majoring in different topics. This is why Mr. Choi needs Huisu to boost up in sports activities and get admission to the predominant VIO scholarship. Then we see Frank, who is going to certainly considered one among his objectives at a party and begins evolved preventing with him. Frank is a person with precise abilities. He heals in no time after each harm. Additionally, the person whom he has long passed to kill is enormously robust, even though he's a vintage guy named Jun and he fights thoroughly. However, in the long run Frank overcomes Jun, and upon asking why he's killing him, Frank replies that it's far due to the fact the junction is now retired. Frank throws Junin out of a completely excessive constructing onto the street outdoor. After the magnificence, Bunk sees Hasu washing her face. The water is spilled over her blouse at the front. Whilst Bunk sees this, his emotions are roused, so he speedy holds to metallic pole to avoid flying with inside the air. At night time, Hasu comes returned domestic and sees her father Jangwon nevertheless running in his eating place, so Hyu additionally receives dressed and is derived there for the assist of her father. In the meantime, Miss Lai Hun is looking the posts approximately the dying of Junction as it become a completely uncommon homicide. She notices the transport van parked outdoor the constructing. Then she fetches out her ammunition and begins evolved cleaning them as though she goes to get equipped for an upcoming conflict. In a flashback, we see Miss Lai Hun sporting Bong Shuk on her return and journeying to a faraway vicinity. On the adventure, they may be having a meal at a eating place whilst unexpectedly Bong Shuk's chair begins evolved to glide with inside the air. However, his mom speedy stabilizes her Sun's chair to the floor. The usage of her leg so Miss Lai Hyen is aware of from the begin that Bong Shok has the capacity to fly in the air due to the fact his frame mass decreases on every occasion he receives emotional. However, she is hiding her son's abilities from the global. She is sporting her to a faraway vicinity. There she rents out a big empty vicinity with the aid of giving the proprietor a big amount of cash and asking him in no way to return back. Returned for 3 years. At night time they each visit a meat keep to shop for something to eat. However, they may be brief on cash. The shopkeeper girl realizes that they may be brief on cash, so she favors them secretly. Additionally, her son offers bongo sweet as a present later. Whilst Miss Lee Mi Hyen sees the bundle has greater stuff in it, she is going returned and thank you for it. On the vicinity she has rented out, she brings some stuff to assist Bong Seek manipulate his flying strength. She desires to stay in solitude together along with her son. There she makes her son exercise staying at the floor. After a few years they shifted to a brand new vicinity and opened a brand new eating place. Bongak isn't allowed to exit to play with different youngsters. However, he constantly longs for it. Someday he is going out with inside the playground to watch a boy soar from a heightened steel body. All of us is cheering him on for his trick. Bongo is going and climbs the peak, a part of the steel body. He jumps from that cliff and begins evolved flying with inside the air. It's extremely good that each one the youngsters are status under him. The next day the faculty instructor complained to Miss Lee Mi Hyen approximately Bong Sok due to the fact a child tried to leap from the peak from which Bong Sok had jumped in advance. In doing so he were given critically injured, so Miss Lai Hun reprimanded her son for showcasing his talents to the overall public. She desired her son to apprehend that the actual hero is person who is aware the feelings of others, after which cares for them. Returned to the existing the following day. As common, Bunk is overdue for faculty and Hisu is overdue these days. As nicely they each rush for the gate and Hisu unknowingly pushes Bunk, making him fly, after which fall to the floor. This reasons Bunk's need to get injured. The instructor permits them to skip through the gate in the event that they each smooth the toilets. After the elegance they each agreed and went to their elegance. There may be a safety guy who's secretly preserving a watch on Bong Sok. Meanwhile, Frank has long gone to his subsequent goal. It's Miles, some other antique guy who can manipulate the electrical cutting edge. However, Frank switches off the energy to boom the troubles of the electrical guy. The antique guy makes use of a battery mobilizer to get the cutting edge for the combat in opposition to Frank. However, while the mobilizer discharges absolutely, Frank smiles, after which fast overcomes the antique guy. Subsequently he additionally kills that guy in his personal library, placing Hearthplace to it on the stop. Frank reveals the image of the son of that electric-powered guy there. However, he can't get any greater facts with inside the elegance. Hisu feels that she is smelling, so she asks Bong for a further faculty blouse. Bong offers her his blouse and Hisu is going to the toilet to alternate. Gang Hun secretly watches Hisu pass in the direction of the toilet. There may be additionally some other boy, Bang Hyu, preserving his eyes on Hyu. Seeing him, Gang Hyun is going in the direction of him and forestalls him from searching at Hyu. It looks as if Gang Hyun likes the lady. However, Bang Hyu gets angered via way of means of Gang Hyun's conduct and demanding situations him to combat. They each visit the woodland in the back of the faculty and start combating. Reputedly having a peaceful appearance, Gang Hyun proves to be tons more potent than Bang Kai-soo. He beats him right away. He is likewise someone with specific skills. Again with inside the magnificence, Hisu requests Bong Sok to head for a lunch as she has no money to pay. However, she may be very hungry on the time with inside the period in between. An unknown younger girl has reached to individual and indicates him the file of new uncommon homicide with inside the town. It looks as if the person is the boss and controls all of the supernatural sports occurring with inside a location. In the meantime, Bong Eo and Hisu exit to have lunch together. They communicate approximately their mother and father in the eating places. Even as having a meal, Bong Eo sees injured Caillou passing through the street. He desires to ask him what occurred to him. However, Hisu stops him as Caillou isn't always his buddy. Later, Caillou and Bongak got here again too. The faculty, due to the fact they needed to easy the lavatories nowadays at the direction Hisu attempts to invite the name of the game of Bongak. However, he dodges the query whilst Bongak is cleansing the toilet. Hayu fetches an ointment to stick on Bongak's wound, which he were given in advance on the gate of the faculty. Whilst Hisu touches the arm of Bongak, the sensation of Bongak all at once will increase. He attempts to divert his interest, however can't manage his feelings in the direction of Hisu and begins evolved flying with inside the air. Fortuitously Hisu has left the room whilst Bongak begins evolved floating with inside the air again at domestic. The daddy of Hujang Wan is suffering together along with his enterprise. He does now no longer have any clients, and he additionally does now no longer have any transport calls, even as his complete menu is prepared to be served on the stop of the day. Whilst there may be no sale, he eats all of the fowl legs himself to display Hisu that he did properly the complete day. Hisu additionally knows his father's state of affairs. She tells him that she is training for admission to the sports-based quota. On this manner her father does now no longer must paintings difficult. Later at night time Hisu is training with inside the floor. She has to paintings more difficult now to get admission on scholarship with inside the sports quota. On the identical time Frank watches the faculty due to the fact the son of his preceding goal has graduated from that faculty as depicted with inside the photograph, but the defend gift there makes Frank exit empty. Exceeded tomorrow Hisu practices hide and leaping with inside the health club all through the schooling. Gang Hyun stands there searching at Hisu for a long time with inside the period in between. Gang Sik additionally comes there and sees Hisu training the excessive bounce. All at once she slips as her foot bends over and he or she falls down. Seeing this, Bong Sik instinctively flies in the direction of Hisu to stop her, however additionally falls to the floor. In doing so Gang Hyun additionally watches the complete scene, and now he is aware of Bong's mystery. Fortuitously Hayu is secure and sound. After that Hisu asks Bong to assist her in her exercise as he's a heavyweight so he can guide Hayu while she is doing crunches. However, through touching the woman he likes, Bong loses manage over his feelings once more and begins evolved to fly. He attempts to attention at the fee of pi, however while he opens his eyes and sees Hisu so near him he begins evolved floating with inside the air once more. Glaringly Bong's keys not hidden from Hisu, however Bongyo careworn through the state of affairs and not understanding what to mention simply leaves for domestic without delay. However while Hayu reaches domestic her father has already offered a couple of sports activities footwear for her as a present. Seeing this Hisu will become very satisfied as she wanted those footwear from a long term. The next day Hisu changed into very curious approximately Bong Silk. She desires to recognize how he can go with the flow with inside the air. She attempts to invite him the name of the game at the back of it, however Bong Se dodges her questions so Hisu sends Bong Silk to the gym to get her footwear and he or she herself follows him secretly. She notices that once far the marks of the muddy footwear have vanished, however then Bong seems in the front of her together along with her footwear in a single hand and his personal footwear with inside the different. After getting the footwear they each take a seat down at the steps and Bong places his bag to the aspect to appearance something into it right. Then Hisu touches the injured knee of Bong to set the plaster on it, however it ignites Bong seals and he isn't always wearing his heavy bag so he begins evolved floating with inside the air once more. Hisu enables him get down, after which places his bag round him. She attempts to loosen up Bong Guy through hugging him, however it simplest excites him greater. All this stuff are being recorded at the CCTV and the protect on the gate is tracking them. Hisu enables Bong to attain his domestic. She continues on fetching Bong Se again to the floor each time he is going above it because of his feelings. After attaining domestic, Miss Lai Hyan greets Hisu warmly into her residence. She is satisfied that Bong Yo is capable of make a chum, and it is the primary time that a chum of Bong Sok has come to their residence. Passover Lai Hyan gives meals for each of them. In the meantime Frank has long gone for his subsequent goal. It's far an antique girl running in a barber save. Presently now her time has come to die on the palms of Frank. Frank pretends first to get a haircut, after which asks her questions on her youngsters, which makes the antique woman doubt Frank, so she grabs pairs of scissors quietly and stabs them directly into his head. However Frank is an astonishingly effective guy. He has the potential to heal himself fast. The antique woman is likewise a unique human with the potential to peer throughout the partitions and doorways, so she shoots at Frank from in the back of the wall. She offers Frank a difficult time, however in the long run Frank overpowers her and kills her, however, who informs her father that she might be overdue due to the fact she is staying at her friend's domestic for a while. At Bong Seek's residence, Miss Lee Mi-hyun offers Hu and Bong Seek a number of meals to devour. Our boy famous that his mom usually offers him a number of meals, that is why he's gaining weight. Then he indicates Hyu his room, which is unintended, floating with inside the air. His mother cared for him lots and had controlled his room thoroughly from early life. Hisu now is aware of that Bong Seok has emotions for her, so she teases him through getting near him. Bong Seok quickly touches the roof with an explosion of his emotions. Then Hisu offers Bong Seok a heavy weight to make him take a seat down at the mattress, after which famous that she additionally has emotions for him. Lee Mi-hyun can feel the use of her incredible senses that her son and Hisu are near every different, so she does not disturb them. She even sends Bong Se to peer off his female friend whilst Bong Seok comes returned domestic in advance. Miss Lee Mi-hyun asks him to go away. Hisu at the least on the bus prevent due to the fact she is a female and goes domestic by myself, so Bong Seok receives his raincoat fast and runs after Hyu. He has to lose the greater weight of his frame to fly searching for Hisu. Ultimately he reaches her and leaves her on the bus prevent. On the equal time one arrives at a constructing to supply meals. Frank occurs to be passing through there. Juan stops Frank and asks him where in the cellular store is. Frank tells him the area, after which leaves. After that Juan is going to that store and can provide the meals. The following day Bong Yo is going to high school once more. Despite the fact that it is a vacation, he tells his mom that there are a few greater lessons at college. That is why he has to move. However, in fact he goes to assisting her exercise on the fitness center. They each attain the fitness center and Bong asks Hisu how she controlled to digest Bong Seek's mystery so without problems, due to the fact ordinary human beings do not apprehend his potential. Then Hisu replies that she additionally has a mystery that she has now no longer but found out to everyone. Hyu asks Bong Seok to maintain her mystery if she tells him so. Bong Seok guarantees him, and Hisu questions him that failed to experience suspicious approximately seen a switch scholar in his elegance in his senior 12 months of college. Usually humans are now no longer